everyone doing? Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, professors. I'm going to present to you my research proposal called "The Theory That Explains the Absence of Multiple Means of Engagement in a 10th grade EFL class at a public school in Santiago." My advisor was Mr. P, as always, and my name is Daniel Vargas, as always. So, I'm going to start by giving you some context about this. I identified the research problem in a public school located here in Santiago, Chile. The age range of students is from 11 to 18 years old. The participants were 33 students from 10th grade class, and they belong to the secondary school context, and it was observed in just one semester. So, how did I observe this problem? Well, first, in the 3 weeks, the first initial weeks, I observed that the teacher didn't include any means of engagement in activities to include all students in the classroom, and he didn't include activities meant to use the language in a communicative way, and also that the teacher didn't use warm-ups as a means of communication to engage students and to motivate them to use the language in the classroom. As a result, the students were seen totally disengaged and demotivated in the activities carried out in the classroom, because the only thing that the teacher did in the class was to carry out activities like grammatical activities or fill in the gaps activities. So students were asked only to translate from one language to the other, from Spanish to English and from English to Spanish. So that was the only thing that the teacher did. Yes. Why all this is so relevant? Why is this a problem? Because of 3 main elements. Here we have 3 official documents that address the importance of engagement. 2 of them are Chilean documents, Marco para la Buena Enseñanza and Programa de Integración Escolar, and the other one, the Universal Design for Learning, which is an international document. Marco para la Buena Enseñanza establishes what the teachers here in the country should know and what they should do in order to determine if they are doing well at their schools. And Programa de Integración Escolar is a strategy of the educational system, which main objective is to contribute to the improvement of the quality of the education here in the country, including all students, not only the ones with special educational needs. And the Universal Design for Learning, which is this learning framework created to contribute to the teaching and learning process, considering the advances in technology and sciences that we have got, and this way become an international movement. So the Chilean documents address this UDL, this document. So the teachers here in the country should be paying attention to this issue. So I'm going to give you some definitions. This is regarding engagement, for which Mayer, Rose and Gordon in 2014 stated that active engagement with learning is gained through social processes. All students need alternative models of how to achieve a goal, in a sense that the steps to get there are achievable. The second one is Programa de Integración Escolar, for which the Chilean Ministry of Education in 2013 stated that through PA, it seeks to contribute to the continuous improvement of the educational quality, benefiting in the curricular area the development and implementation of diversified strategies for every learning style based on UDL, the Universal Design for Learning, which brings about educational answers tied to the needs and characteristics of every student, not only the ones with the SEN, as I mentioned before. And the last one is Marco para la Buena Enseñanza, for which el Centro de Perfeccionamiento, Experimentación e Investigación Pedagógica in 2008 stated that the teacher, based on his or her pedagogical practices, pedagogical competencies, knowledge of his or her students, and mastery of the contents that teaches, he or she designs, selects, and organizes teaching strategies that give sense to the contents presented, and thus the performance of the teacher is demonstrated mainly through the lesson plans and the effects that they have on students. So, what's the virgin knowledge? The virgin knowledge is the little empiric evidence found regarding this topic, and also that there is something not being done in this scenario. Something that the teacher should be doing, but he's, of course, is not doing. And yeah, I got to the research question, which is, what is the theory that explains the absence of multiple means of engagement in a 10th grade EFL class at a public school in Santiago? Then I established the general objective, which is to devise a theory to understand the absence of multiple means of engagement in a 10th grade EFL class at a public school in Santiago. And the specific objectives were to observe the teacher's activities carried out during the classes, to describe the students' engagement during the activities carried out, and to observe students' attitudes toward learning the language. And the assumption: the teacher does not implement activities meant to engage and consider all students in his classes because he doesn't have time to do so, or just because he doesn't mind if his students learn or not. Yeah, we'll go to the theoretical framework. In this part, as you can see here in the diagram, in the central phenomenon, which is the absence of multiple means of engagement. And we have 4 more concepts that are related to this central phenomenon: the student psychoaffective profile, sociocultural factors, EFL methodologies, and UDL multiple means of engagement. Regarding the student psychoaffective profile, Papal and Martorell in 2016 stated that adolescence is a transition of development that goes from 18, 19, or 20 years old and that involves physical, cognitive, social, and emotional changes. In addition, Harvard in 2007 stated that adolescent students have a great capacity for learning. They have a great capacity for learning, and they have a special commitment to things which interest them. That's the most important thing here. Regarding sociocultural factors, within this concept we have 3 more concepts that are very important, which are culture, attitude, and the teacher's beliefs. Regarding culture, Brown in 2007 defined culture as the ideas, costumes, the arts, and skills and tools that characterize a group of people. Regarding attitude, Sherahabian and Harshiman in 2015 stated that attitude is the way that a person responds to his or her environment, either negatively or positively. And Islam in 2017 stated that the teacher's beliefs are the tacit and often unconsciously held assumptions about the students, about the classroom, and about the material to be taught. And the third concept is EFL methodologies, for which Norquist in 2015 stated that EFL is learned in environments where the language of the community and the school is not English. And the other important concept here is warm-ups or icebreakers, which is defined by Harmer in 2007. He stated that icebreakers are short activities that teachers use at the beginning of the lessons to warm up their students. And it often involves spoken activities, pair work, or group work, or teamwork. And we have one more concept, which is UDL, multiple means of engagement, that I'm going to explain right now. And since this is the most important concept, I'm going to dig a bit deep on it. So, what's the universal design for learning? The universal design for learning is a learning framework that is designed to improve the teaching and learning processes of students and also for teachers. It considers three main elements. It has three core principles: the affective networks, the why of learning; the recognition networks, the what of learning; and strategic networks, the how of learning. Regarding the first one, as you can see, in the first one has to do with the stimulation of the interest of and motivation of students for learning. And here some examples are teamwork, collaborating, activities like, how can I say, like recreational activities, or yeah. I didn't find the word. Yeah, and recognition networks, it has to do with how we present the information for students, how we present it in different ways. So it has to do with, we can do it by showing graphs, through videos, through music, and finally the how of learning, which has to do with the ways that students can express what they know. So it could be done by, I don't know, like writing exercises, writing essays, what else? I have my notes here. Yeah, drawing softwares and whiteboards. But this time we're only going to focus on the first one. The provide multiple means of engagement. So, what's engagement? Chernoff in 2013 defined engagement as the hidden simultaneous experience of concentration, interest, and enjoyment in the task at hand. But how do we engage our students? Well, for this, May, Rose, and Gordon in 2014 stated that active engagement with learning is gained through social processes. They say that all students need alternative models of how to achieve a goal in a sense that the steps together are achievable, as I said before. This way, we're going to show students, students are going to see the purpose of learning, and they will be more motivated to learn. So, this is important because, as you can see in figure number 1 to your left, one student in one context could be totally disengaged, and in other context, the same student could be totally engaged. Yeah. The methodology. So here we have the paradigm chosen was the interpretive paradigm. The approach was qualitative approach, and the design guiding this research is grounded theory, for which Creswell in 2012 stated that a grounded theory design is a systematic qualitative procedure used to generate a theory that explains at a broad conceptual level a process, an action, or an interaction about a substantive topic. So, this is concerned with the study, for this study, because what we want to do is to devise a theory to explain the absence of multiple means of engagement. And we go to the methodological procedure. Here we have 5 steps. Yeah. In the first step, we have initial observation in the first 3 weeks. And here the researcher will state the research problem, then identify the main categories, and then in the second step, the researcher will take notes all along the process, to observe the behavior of the participants, all of them, the teacher and that of the students. In the third step, the researcher will state the research question, objectives, the paradigm, the approach, and the design. That should be the baseline. And in the fourth step is the creation of instruments. So in this step, the researcher will identify the instrument needed to collect information, and consequently he or she, the researcher, will create the instruments. In this case, it is the observation, field notes, interview, and a focus group for students. The interview is for the teacher. And the final step is data analysis. The data will be analyzed using GT coding, for which Flip 2009 stated 3 steps: open coding, access coding, and selective coding. Open coding is when the researcher adds codes to the raw data already segmented. Access coding is when the researcher relates subcategories to bigger categories more relevant for the research question. And selective coding has to do with selecting or choosing the potential concept that may arise. And triangulation will be done in the middle of open coding and access coding. And with Flick in 2014 stated that triangulation is the keyword used to express the triangulation is the keyword used to name the combination of different methods. And and the last step is the conclusion, to understand the absence of multiple means of engagement. And the sample, 34 students from 10th grade class. They range from 11 to 18 years old. They belong to the secondary school context. The sampling technique adapted here in this report, in this research, is intact class. All perspectives will be considered. And also key informants will be selected through purposive theoretical sampling to take part in a focus group. The data collection material. As you can see here, we have field notes, the interview for the teacher, and a focus group. Regarding field notes, Crespo in 2014 stated that a qualitative observation or field note is when the researcher takes field notes on the behavior and activities of individuals at the research site. Regarding the interview for the teacher, Creswell in 2012 stated that in qualitative research, you ask open-ended questions so that the participants can best voice their experience unconstrained by any perspective of the research or past research findings. And focus group, it is an interactive process to collect data. Its main characteristic is the use of group interaction to elicit participant insights and produce data that would be more difficult to gather without the interaction that is found within focus groups. The trustworthiness of the study. We have 5 more concepts that are based on Guba's work in 1981. We have credibility, which will be ensured since all perspectives will be considered in the study. Then we have dependability. It will be ensured because of the data collection materials, like the different data collection materials employed in the research, like field notes, the interview, and focus groups. So as to triangulate all the data, considering all the perspectives, and showing that the results are consistent. Transferability will be ensured by the thick descriptions of the participants and the context, so other researchers can apply the same or similar studies in similar context. And confirmability will be ensured by the availability of the data, the interpretations, and the triangulation process that's stated in the report so that everyone can have access to it. And finally, prolonged engagement. since the researcher will spend specifically 24 weeks at the research site. The expected outcomes is to understand the absence of multiple means of engagement, to devise the theory to explain the absence of multiple means of engagement, and hopefully to get a better teaching practice based on the results of the study, and to contribute to the improvement of students' learning. And one of the contributions will be that policymakers will realize about the importance of multiple means of engagement in the classroom. And the limitations of the study is that this has specific context. So if other researchers want to apply this study, they have to adapt it for other contexts, of course. The metacognitive analysis. Personally, well, yeah, now I've got more new insights of what being a teacher in the secondary school context is, because I used to think that the teacher in the secondary school context had to pay attention only to, or more to the behavior of students, but I saw that this is not that way, because there are more important things to consider in a classroom, from a secondary school context, like the activities carried out in the classroom, or how you carry out these activities. Yes, and yeah. Regarding the metacognitive analysis of internship and research, I found some strengths, challenges, and weaknesses. Regarding the internship, I can say that one strength is my ability to empathize with the students by reflecting on how to simplify the language for them to understand. In this case, Corliss and Enrique in 2013, they stated that the simplification of the language is very important in the educational context and more in language teachers, because the students need to understand what you're saying, they need to understand what the contents are, so they won't be motivated. And one of the weaknesses that I found regarding the internship is my reaction time to strange situations, because I can recall one situation that happened to me in this internship, and it was like I was checking the students' work progress during the class, and I asked one student to check the progress. So I said, can I check your progress, what you're doing? And she told me something like, yeah, you can check it, so you can do something here. And of course this was a disrespectful attitude, so I didn't know what to do. So I just decided to omit it, because I didn't know what to do. And regarding research, one of my weaknesses is working under pressure. So when I know that I have a big workload, I cannot work. My brain doesn't work. And of course this is something that I have to keep working on. And one of my strengths regarding research is my growth mindset, to keep working on what I don't understand, to keep asking questions, and to never give up. And one of my challenges is time management, since I have struggled a lot since the first year of the university. I need to find a way to manage better my time in a better way. And that's it. These are my references. Thank you very much.